The Sun is by far the most influential star for Earth and the rest of the entire solar system, influential in every possible way. Energetically speaking, the Sun imposes its frequency upon the rest of the solar system's objects, especially over its planets, because of the principle of dominant frequency. The principle of dominant frequency dictates that the strongest will impose its frequency vibration, harmonics and all, upon lesser ones, making them become more of the same. Even when under a dominant frequency, if there is enough specific strength, or another source that constantly feeds the object, or person, it can conserve its core frequency, although it will always have the interference and the influence of the stronger one. If an object does not have a cause, or a source of its own frequency to constantly feed it, it will become equal to the dominant one. So, what I'm saying is that whenever the Sun is transmitting a wave frequency, it will, and it does affect the Earth and all its inhabitants. The Sun is not a yellow star, it is white, and you only perceive it as yellow because of the filtering effect of the Earth's atmosphere. From space, the Sun is perceived to emit white light. The Sun is not a thermonuclear ball of fire as Earth science dictates. It is a high-energy electromagnetic plasma exit point, part of an elaborated energy dynamic pathway that links all stars. Like entangled neurons, what happens to the one will affect the others, and they are all connected from the side of the ether, or the spirit side, forming a frequency transit web linking them all. Where the suns are high-energy entry and exit points, and black holes are entry points only, energetically speaking. Besides high-energy electromagnetic plasma at a very high frequency, the main component to it all is of course gravity, as a flow of consciousness. So the Sun is a highly concentrated point of consciousness, and a highly concentrated point of consciousness is a being, and I mean a sentient being. As the Sun is connected through the etheric side with all other suns, those affect its mood, as other people affect ours as well, because we are also energetically connected with everyone else through the etheric side. There is a group consciousness, where all sentient beings are interconnected and share the base print or mold from where variations to the same theme spawn out from, and those are the individual traits and characteristics that define each one of us as individuals. And we are all connected more to some than to others, depending on our frequency of thought and energetic soul frequency, so some people will be closer to us than others, same for stars and suns. When the general star energetic pattern that influences the Sun changes, so does its mood with it. So as a sentient being, it is always different, and will always be emitting slightly different energy patterns as time goes by, through its life. The most noticeable mood variations are solar flares and sunspots. A solar flare is a high-frequency, highly concentrated energy point. Sunspots and coronal holes are low-frequency, low-activity points. Energetically and etherically speaking, when the average existential vibratory frequency drops enough in an area, it will cause a bridge to another lower frequency realm, as it happens on Earth and other planets as well. See my video Paranormal Portals for more of this. All suns are of a very high frequency, so a sunspot does not necessarily open a portal to lower astral realms. They are not known to do so from the taygeta scientific point of view, because sunspots and coronal holes are a drop in vibration from a very high base frequency that would be the average vibratory frequency of the surface of a sun. And the drop in frequency in those spots and holes only lower their frequency enough to barely match average open space frequency, the one we all use to navigate our ships in, and would be the average frequency of existence we call 5D space. I must insist that, as my friends and family here have shared before, there are no densities as such, there is only an infinite gradient from lower to higher frequency, and the range of consciousness awareness of each sentient observer is what determines a density. So that means that there are as many existential densities as sentient beings are, as each one holds its own range of perceptions within that infinite scale, and a shared realm, or shared density of existence with many sentient beings in it would only exist, or be so, when there are mutual perception agreements between all those sentient beings. The agreements are what define a density and its frequency range, what takes us again to another basic phrase: you are not living in a density, you are a density. A higher density, or a lower density, are defined as the average frequency of thoughts of the sentient being, or beings creating it, and the higher a frequency, the more data is processed, because of a higher awareness. And as there is a higher awareness, the sentient being can perceive more of what is in the field of potential energy around it. Therefore it will have more in common with other sentient beings, more in its frequency than those with a lower and lesser awareness. Therefore agreeing with the sentient beings with higher awareness and not with the ones with a lesser capacity of awareness and perception. Each group will then define its density of existence depending on who they associate with and the perception agreements they hold in common. A higher perception awareness of an agreed upon realm of existence, or density of existence, will mean the sentient being can perceive more detail about everything within that realm, and this causes the being to be able to understand, and therefore to perceive more complex, or more complicated dimensions. So there is a direct relationship between densities and dimensions, not being the same thing. The latter one depends directly on the first one. Coming back to suns, each sunspot and each coronal hole are then portals, and can be mapped and used by starships, creating with it a wormhole transit system, coming in and out of stars that countless stellar civilizations have been using for eons. Stars can be used as both exit points and entry points, and black holes can only be used as entry points, but they are still dangerous, so they are not really used. The dynamic pressures and stresses on a ship are simply too high and they are unpredictable. Remembering that all changes and frequency fluctuations of the sun affect the Earth, we come to the most important point of today's video, and the reason why I felt this subject was important. When there is a low frequency event in the sun, it will also lower the base average frequency of all the planets including Earth. This low frequency activity in the sun almost always is correlated to large amounts or unusually large sunspots and coronal holes. So when there is a low frequency event in the sun, the Earth also goes down on average existential frequency, making it a lot easier for things, entities, and spirits from the lower astral to be able to influence and interact more with people and objects on the material side. This means that they have more influence over the world of the living. People in the know on Earth, including many in the Cabal, use this knowledge to do their hideous rituals, to bring their dark entities into the material world. There is a clear co-relationship between sunspot activity and the rituals of the Cabal that controls Earth, as well as sacrifices of blood and all paranormal activity. The sun usually goes for 11-year cycles, and when there is a so-called solar maximum, the amount of sunspots increases dramatically, therefore lowering the frequency of the planet. Ironically, a solar maximum means a lower frequency output, and not higher frequency as would be expected, although some measurable frequency ranges can spike upwards as well. There is a clear co-relationship between solar maximum and sunspot activity and important or large historical events that changed or altered human civilization in one degree or another. These solar maximums don't only occur during the 11-year cycle, they do occur sporadically at any time, but they are not always easily detectable or reported to the greater public. I believe that at least some of those historical events were caused by the frequency and energy interaction between the astral and the physical, and were caused by lower astral entities being able to access the world of the living during those solar maximums. And those entities were helped by hideous rituals and sacrifices performed by cabal members who offer them to those lower astral entities in exchange for favors and power. I'm also convinced that the simple shift in energy frequency is enough to cause altering events, both for good and for bad. Examples of historical events occurring on, or near solar maximums are the American Revolution, from the year 1776 to 1787, solar maximum in the year 1778. Great October Revolution in Russia, solar maximum in the year 1917. Twin Towers, 9/11, solar maximum in the year 2001. These are only 3 examples of a very long list of events that can be linked to solar maximum and sunspot activity. Research this online and you will see the clear connection. Sunspots are portals, as simple as that, and they also cause, or facilitate other portals to open when in their range of influence. Because everything is connected, especially portals. And the Sun is now entering another solar maximum, right now in 2023. So take care out there and watch out for possible false flags. Thank you for being here with me today. With much love. Mari Swa.